Hello, dear friends. Good evening, or good morning, or good day. It doesn't matter what the time is, but this video I'm talking about the book. Actually, in English, it's not my native language. My native language is Russian, and it's not so easy to speak or to talk about books or any abstract things, but I will try in this video. Once I did the video about the book. It was the book, the biography of Elon Musk by John Isaacson, and this time I'm talking about Haruki Murakami book, which I read in Russian. It's called Kafka on the Shore. Kafka on the Shore, it's the book by Haruki Murakami, published, edited in 2002, and interesting fact that as the author in the middle of the book, Murakami mentions the Russian famous writer Anton Chekhov and his famous wording about the gun. Anton Chekhov said once, and it's the wording now, that if the gun is on the wall and it's on the wall, that means that at some moment it will shut. It will shut. And just at the beginning of this video, maybe the gun and the wording was exactly with my state of mood, as I wanted to put on the light to make this video lighter, as it's not exactly the dark time, but not the light time. And I noticed that my lamp, vintage one, which I brought with me from Switzerland, from the vintage shop in Switzerland, it somehow is broken and my mood got upset. That's why maybe this video will a little bit sad in terms of my mood, but anyway, I'm going to make it. Why? As it's important to do the planned things, at least for me. Sometimes I postpone the things to do, and that's why I will not do them at all, or just other things needed to be done. And this book, Haruki Murakami book, Kafka on the Shore, I took it in the library and I keep it with me too long. I need to get it back to the library. So independently on my mood and the lamp, sorry for mentioning, I will do this video. I liked the book very much, and I started to talk about Anton Chekhov and his gun, and the same about Murakami. He gave the name of the book as Kafka, and it means like alter ego of one of the main character, alter ego of the 15 years old boy, and he has some internal voice or internal substance, and the boy Kafka Tamura, he call it crow. Crow in English, and in Russian ворона. It's a bird, black one usually. Sometimes we call some unordinary person as the white crow. And Murakami himself, he translates the name Kafka as the crow in Czech language. And I took it, I just trusted Murakami and made a book talk in Russian, long one, on my main YouTube channel in Russian. And one subscriber, he or she said to me that I was wrong to trust Murakami as it is, as Kafka is translated not the crow, but other bird, jackdaw bird. So, but usually when any person is thinking about Kafka, the first association is Franz Kafka, the famous writer. He wrote all his books in German, though his nationality was Czech and Jewish. And you know, I don't know if you ever read this book. By the way, please comment if you like it and what do you think about the book, and do you have any similarity in mind in Murakami's novel Kafka on the Shore and Franz Kafka novels. But for me there is some similarity, as there are two worlds, one real two worlds, one real conscience and one unconscious. And the same about this book, but it's not as depressive as in Franz Kafka novels, but some light and quite positive, more positive world, unconscious. I mean, the real world, we usually think of it as it's the same for everyone, but it isn't. So I did some citations from the book in Russian for my book talk in Russian, long one. But one thing, I liked the dialogue so much, and it's about the birds. And on my YouTube channel, Russian Girl in English, you know, I see some unusual or surprising things in nature, and sometimes together with you we notice birds and watch them together, and sometimes we even try to understand what bird we see. And there are many birds in Murakami book, actually, and he even mentions them in terms of sounds, in terms of association with people, in terms of character, and he even has some other books with mentioning birds. So I want just to read loudly or to read loud. Chapter 27, the dialogue between Sayoki-san. She is the lady. In novel we see her in two faces. One is the 15 years old girl. She usually wears light blue color, and when she is an intelligent and pleasant woman, lady of 45 years old, she's elegant and she wears dark blue. The main character, who is the 15 years old boy, Kafka Tamura, and the other main character, who is the old guy Nakata, they are the opposite. And by the way, all the chapters in the book, they are divided in two lines, and all the even chapters are about Nakata. Nakata, he is about 60 years old, and he cannot read, as some odd stuff took place with him when he was a kid. And the odd chapters are about Kafka Tamura, the 15 years old bookish boy. So the boy who is so young, he is a bookish person, and the old guy Nakata, he's, for me, I feel sympathy to him, as he is very kind and naive, and he cannot read at all, and he thinks that his head, that he has no mind to think over the world, over the humanity, etc. But he can speak with cats, etc. He's the good guy. By the way, Kafka Tamura, the 15 years old, the most cool 15 years old boy, is also a kind person, but he's on the stage when he steps into the adult life, and that's why we feel sympathy to him as a young person. So the two lines with two main characters, one reads a lot and the other doesn't read at all. The second row characters, Osima-san and Hasina-san, the same. One is intelligent and he works in a library and talks about Greek poems or tragedies. He is very intelligent. And the other one is just a simple guy, the driver, a driver of a big truck. But anyway, they are like helpers of their first row characters or main characters, Nakata and Kafka Tamura. Anyway, to make a long story short, I want to read for you the abstract from the book in English. It's the dialogue in between of Sayoki-san and Kafka Tamura, the 15 years old boy. When I was 15, I wasn't either, of course. She picks up the coffee cup and takes a sip. Kafka, what can you see outside? I look out the window behind her. I see trees, the sky, and some clouds, some birds on tree branches. Nothing out of the ordinary, right? That's right. But if you knew, you might not be able to see it again tomorrow. Everything would suddenly become special and precious, wouldn't it? I suppose so. Have you ever thought about that? I have. A surprised look comes over her. When? When I'm in love, I tell her. She smiles faintly, and it continues to hover around her lips. This puts me in mind of how refreshing water looks after someone's sprinkled it in a tiny hollow outside on a summer day. Are you in love? She asks. Yes. And her face and whole being are special and precious to you each time you see her. That's right. And I might lose those. Miss Sayoki looks at me for a while and the smile fades away. Picture a bird perched on a thin branch, she says. The branch sways in the wind, and each time this happens, the bird's field of vision shifts. You know what I mean? I nod. When that happens, how do you think the bird adjusts? I shake my head. I don't know. It bobs its head up and down, making up for the sway of the branch. Take a good look at birds the next time it's windy. I spend a lot of time looking out that window. Don't you think that kind of life would be tiring? Always shifting your head every time the branch you are on sways. I do. Birds are used to it. It comes naturally to them. They don't have to think about it. They just do it. So it's not as tiring as we imagine. But I am a human being, not a bird. So sometimes it does get tiring. You are on a branch somewhere, in a manner of speaking, she says, and sometimes the wind blows pretty hard. I hope that my intonation was good enough to understand the meaning and what I started to say about the gun on the wall, that it somehow should shut at the point when it appears in the book, in the novel. And for Haruki Murakami, the gun about the name Kafka finally shut in 2006 when he got the reward of Franz Kafka Literature Award of Franz Kafka in 2006. So he gave the name to the book in 2002, and in 2006 he got the Franz Kafka Award with some money and a small sculpture, let's say like this. By the way, this sculpture, it's two of my sons. And the book, I like the book. I recommend to read it in your native language. For me, if I had read the book in English, probably I would not get the whole meaning. But I don't pretend that I got it even in Russian. Anyway, it was my book talk in English. Let's say the first one, long one. It was for the first time. I hope that YouTube will recognize my video as a good one, as sometimes I feel that YouTube doesn't give me any shows, at least in streams. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of my English, or maybe it's because I'm trying to deliver my content from Russia to some other parts of the world. Anyway, thank you for watching my content. I will appreciate a lot if you subscribe and leave some comment and give me a like. My name is Rita, and on YouTube, at least in this channel, I am Russian girl in English. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Stay tuned. Bye bye.